The patriarchy is controlling birth. How? Well, it's been doing it for, I would say, probably at least the last 200 years, maybe way before, when the witches and actually the doctors and the nurses who were female were being killed and got rid of in the witch hunts. But more actively in our time has been about 200 years ago, a gentleman, obviously, called Franz Nagel. He decreed, what do you do with a rule? I think you make a rule. He made Nagel's rule. And what Nagel's rule does, it takes a woman, asks her the date of her last menstrual period. We'll come back to that in a little minute. It takes away 3 months, then adds a year and 7 days to give us this magical 280 days that we all are supposed to gestate for. Now, there are a few problems with Nagel's rule. The first is, if you have siblings, you'll know that we all gestate at different times. Women gestate at different times, and they gestate at different times with child to child. So the idea that we all have a 280-day gestation period is nonsense. I actually heard a story recently of a woman who was in prison, and the state were going to take away her baby. She was pregnant and in prison. The state was planning to take her baby away as soon as it was born. She managed to stay pregnant for 18 months to stop this from happening. So gestation is quite a fluid thing. So that's the first assumption that he makes, is that everybody has exactly the same gestation period. The second interesting assumption he makes is that the time between a woman ovulating and menstruating is exactly the same in every single woman. Well, I think, girls, we kind of know that that's not the case, isn't it? And we can also change that time from cycle to cycle. I remember at times when I was going on holiday or going to a wedding or something, and I could actually stop my period from coming or bring it forward a couple of days so that it was out of the way before I went on holiday. Now, I didn't achieve it every single time, but I wasn't trying to achieve it every single time. I think we maybe need more consciousness around what we're doing with our periods. Also, the LMP, the date of the last menstrual period, nobody's conceiving then. And the other assumption that he makes about ovulation and sex is that we all had sex at the same time after we ovulated, because that's going to happen, isn't it? So I put it to you, judge and jury, that we're looking at the wrong thing. Rather than looking at the date of the last menstrual period, we should be looking at the date of the last ovulation. Now, a lot of women are going to say, well, I don't know when I ovulate. I know when I bleed because it's really obvious. It's in my knickers. But I don't know when I ovulate. So I invite you, ladies, to start to get to know when you ovulate. There are actually signs. You may feel a little sort of popping sensation on one or other side of your abdomen, depending on which ovary the egg is being released from. You may also encounter cramping. You might get mood swings, and those mood swings at ovulation time, they might be super happy and flirty. Because you are actually at your most fertile as you ovulate, you might be out biologically, you're sort of programmed to go and attract a mate and to procreate, because that's kind of a bit of why we're here, right, on this planet. This is the female pelvis. It's not the most amazing thing, but you can see these two bits at the side. This is basically the fallopian tubes. They haven't, the ovaries aren't here, but an ovary, there'll be an ovary system very close to the fallopian tube. We release an egg either side, from the left 1 month, right the next month. And then these eggs, they trundle down through the fallopian tube, and if they get fertilized by an incoming sperm, they'll form something called a zygote. And a zygote is basically just the sperm and the egg together. And then they start doing their cell multiplication, and then down they come into the uterus, which is not very easy to see. And the zygote, which is now becoming an embryo and moving into fetus territory, will implant itself in the wall of the uterus and grow and become a baby. So why is it important to know all of that stuff? Gosh, it's very hot, I'm sorry. It's very important to know because ovulation is the time when a woman is at her most fertile. And if she doesn't want a baby, it's a really good time to either don't have sex at all or use some quite serious contraception. If, on the other hand, you do want your baby, you might actually be thinking you want a boy or a girl. Now, I think, sadly, the birth rate is plummeting at the moment and any baby is welcome. But if you did happen to want to have a boy or a girl, just bear these little things in mind. There's a guy called, it's something called the Shettle method, Shettle, the Shettle method. And in that, he suggests that boy sperms are the sprinters of the sperm world. So they get to their destination really quickly, but they die off quite fast, where girl sperm are the marathon runners. So they last longer, move a bit more slowly. So if you want to have a boy, you need to have sex immediately as you ovulate, so that the first sperm that get there are going to do the fertilization. But if you want to have a girl, you should have sex a little bit before you ovulate, so that all the boy sperms have died out and it's only the girls left. Now, this is absolutely not a failsafe. I think it's around about 80%, so it's not terrible for accuracy. But like I say, any baby, it needs to be valued in this world, right? Because we are losing babies. The birth rate is plummeting. Young people are not thinking that it's a priority to make babies. So congratulations if you are pregnant. Oh yeah, the other thing to know about ovulation is that your discharge actually changes. This is probably the most obvious thing. Like a period is very obvious. Your discharge, if you put it between your fingers, you can stretch it about a good 3 or 4 inches and it will go kind of stringy like egg albumin. So that's a good thing to know. I would encourage women to get more and more into their ovulation. I would love a time where women walk into the doctor's surgery and say, oh, I had sex, I ovulated on this day, I had sex on that day, therefore I am this many days pregnant. Let's take it from there. And then we can count and then we can see what is actually real, how wide and varied gestation periods are. But we can't do this when we're hanging on to Nagel's rule. Nagel's rule gives an estimated date. It's the EDD, the estimated due date. And everybody seems to forget that it's estimated and it becomes due. Oh, when are you due? Are you like a bus? You're going to come in. I try to encourage my clients to think of themselves as being due. Their baby is going to be with them in either a month, or if you're really feeling decadent, go with the royal way and just talk about a season. I know people who've actually, maybe they were due in January, but they've told people that they're due in February. Just play with it, because that EDD becomes a thing that will be throughout your pregnancy. It will be hanging over you. And people will start, towards the end of your pregnancy, people will start to phone you up and leave messages saying, where's that baby? Has that baby come yet? And it's really annoying. But worst of all is that the medics start their interfering. They start their stretches and sweeps. I think they offer that at about either 38 or 39 weeks. And then in they come with their pessaries. Why? There's nothing wrong with this baby. There's nothing wrong with the mother. Just leave everybody alone and we can stop having these cascades of intervention, which are causing a great deal of trauma to the poor women who are having these babies. Right, what else was I going to say? It's estimated. Yeah, so the purpose of getting an EDD is that we can just do all this tracking. They do love to track and measure and just have all these numbers around birth and pregnancy. And actually, they're very stressful. They're very, very stressful. If you're in a low-risk pregnancy, I almost am beginning to think nowadays, you're better off just tuning in with yourself, not ignoring things. Absolutely do not ignore things, but get to know yourself. Come in. That's why if you know when you ovulate, that's a really internal thing. So the more you come inside, what is my body doing? You know, I made a video yesterday saying I'm a woman and I don't always like posting, so I batch record often. Or like this, I'm going to go live and then I'll download it and I'll look and I might edit it. I might just leave it as it is. But I think there's a lot of pressure on us to be like machines, want to do something every day, every day, every day. And that's not the nature of the woman. The woman has cycles. We're up and we're down, and some days we're really outgoing, and other days we want to be more introspective. This crazy, yeah, the assumptions of the LMP. The LMP, oh, because it's the only thing that a man can see, right? Blood in your knickers. Now he knows something. But the blood in your knickers means that it's all over. The unfertilized ovum is being flushed out of your uterus, and we've got to wait another 4 weeks or 2 weeks, depending on the length of your cycle, somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks before being able to conceive again. So I ask myself, so if the patriarchy is controlling birth, what would the matriarchy do with the EDD? Well, the matriarchy would not have an EDD. The matriarchy would invite a woman to tell her when she conceived, and we would take it from there. So I really, really encourage you to start, if you're a woman, to start to tune in to your bodily functions. And then when you get pregnant, you can tune into that relationship between you and your baby. If you go to my website, which is linked on the channel, if I get it together, I'm going to link it in these show notes as well. I have a little meditation for a pregnant lady to just spend a few minutes every day. It's completely free of charge. You can download it, no big deal. But to start to get to know what's going on inside you. Because one of the strongest pieces of evidence that they have in labour for assessing the well-being of the baby is what the mother is feeling. So as you go through your pregnancy, start to come inside and feel what is going on for me and my baby. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. Have wonderful days, whatever you're doing, and we'll be back quite soon for more about how the patriarchy is controlling birth.